Scott Burge, along with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. How are you, Robert?
Living the dream, sir.
Amen. Amen. This show is to help support guys that are going through tough times, be it physical or mental. And if we can help them get through an hour a week by talking sports, and you help somebody for an hour, this world will be a much better place. So,
and they told two friends, and they told two friends.
What
and
commercial?
So
That's
on,
from some
and
old
so
commercial,
on,
right?
and so, yeah, like a L'Oreal or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So happy to be here, and lovely to be at Miller's Ale House, where Robert and I just ordered our dinner for the night. I'm getting a grilled chicken salad, and Robert went way off the board.
I did.
He
I
usually
didn't
does what, steak and chicken fajitas?
Steak. Yeah, I went steak and grilled shrimp.
Wow.
And just for the record, because I know there's probably some Miller's executives watching the show, as they normally do. This is less expensive than what I normally order. So I'm
there you go. So
I'm a company man. I'm saving the company money.
Saving the company dollars. There you go.
That's how I roll.
We've been doing this show here for, 14 months now. Larry, can you give me just a tad more volume? Thank you. Yeah, that's a little too much, but just a tad. Thank you. So happy to be here, and we're going to be talking some sports, and we have a new guest on the show, Mr. Ed Rodriguez. Everybody put your hands together for Ed. Listen to that crowd. Listen to that crowd.
You know who hasn't heard that much applause?
Me?
Anybody wearing a Jets jersey in a while.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I just had to go ahead and get that shot across the bow. I'll be really good from now on.
That's pretty good.
That's all right. First, I want to thank Robert and Chuck for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Happy to be here and ready to roll.
Well, let's rock and roll. We're going to start off with segment 1, talking about the Major League Baseball playoffs.
So what excuses you got?
For the Braves?
Yeah.
You got to peak at the right time. And they didn't.
Peak at the right time. That's always a good one.
And they did not.
No, they did not.
They did not. We'll go back to the beginning of the year. My first picks were San Diego. I can't remember who I picked in the American
Houston.
League. Was it Houston?
It was.
But midseason, I did switch to Texas in the American League. I think I switched to Cincinnati in the National League. So off.
Did Vegas acknowledge those switches?
No.
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 Yeah.
But I did pick Philadelphia at the beginning of the year to win the division.
Which didn't happen.
No, but they did make the playoffs, and we'll get into that a little bit more because I think they're going all the way. But, I mean, they're pitching. Everybody talked about how great their year was, and I listened at the beginning of the year talking about, wow, the Braves got the pitching. They got Strider, and they got Elder, and they got Mike Fried, and all this, and just never materialized, did it?
Well, I mean, it did materialize into the best record in all of baseball.
104 wins, yeah.
You know, I mean, but at the end of the day, when the trade deadline was upon us, and everybody, well, we're going to have all these great pitchers come postseason. Well, you don't have them right now, so that's pretty level-headed of you, thanking yourself for a guy who you hope will be back in 2 months. But as bad as the Braves were for that 1 week, and there's a lot of good reasons why they didn't peak at the right time. They shouldn't have had to play the Phillies. That's my own personal favorite. Tell me this. As a Jets fan, can you imagine this? You're a 1 seed. You did everything you could to have a bye, and then there's 2 teams that have to come forward. One's a 4 seed and one's a 6 seed. If the 4 seed, you had to play 1 played 4 and 2 got to play 6. Would that make any sense in this world?
I don't want to hear any excuses. To be the best, you got to play the best.
Well, absolutely. We should have played the Diamondbacks.
In the postseason,
You got to beat who's in front of you.
In the postseason, it's a new season. They got outplayed, and honestly, I'm kind of happy. I'm a Mets fan. Misery loves company. So
let me just say this, because I understand, all that other good stuff. You understand that a 1 seed played the 4 seed. Why can anybody possibly explain that to me? 1 and 2 are waiting for the 2 seeds to come. Always the worst seed goes to the 1 seed. Why doesn't it happen in baseball? If they tried to pull that in football, basketball, or hockey, people would break all of the windows in all of the arenas. There's no way that any of that could get passed by any other sport. Were we good? No, we weren't. And for all my friends who said, well, clearly it's because we can't play small ball and we can't move the runners over, we can't do this. The team that beat us hit 10 home runs in the final 2 games. They beat us by our own measuring tape. But I don't know. Just saying.
They did.
Can't do it.
It's another long season of frustration for the Braves fans. And I don't see it getting any better.
Well, I mean, when you don't see it getting any better, let's just slow everybody up. You don't see them. Do you see them dominating baseball for 162 games again, like they did this year?
I think they're going to be win 90, 95 games. But
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you just don't think this team is cut out for the postseason? Is that it?
I don't know if it's Snicker. I don't know what it is.
It is Snicker.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I don't think they play as loose as somebody like the Phillies. I watched the Phillies, and man, they're just out there having a good time.
The intensity.
Yeah,
in Philly.
all those long-haired hippie freaks playing in Philadelphia, they're just having a good time, and that ballpark is nuts. I mean, I don't go to too many Braves games, but that ballpark is nuts. I mean, they're up cheering every pitch on their feet, pulling for the Phillies.
And that's the way it is in a lot of those, if you get anything in St. Louis or Chicago or whatever, people stand every game. Or,
Do you think it's
every
the time
pitch.
off that they had?
I personally don't.
Is that an excuse?
It is for some people. I just think I think Double-A has signed all of these incredible hitters and has overlooked pitching, and he let part of the bullpen go in the last 2 years, and he's done nothing to add to the starting pitching, and you get what we got here today. I mean, you look at those two teams from the that are battling out for the ALCS. When the Mets went belly up, man, they were jumping at the bit to grab those two pitchers. Oh, give me that guy, give me. Where was our? I had to take a middle of the road guy. You don't have to give me Scherzer or Verlander.
And
to get
Scherzer's
excited.
starting tonight, right?
Yeah, Scherzer's back for the first time in a long time, and boy, pray if Houston better pray he's not good because they can't handle the rest of that team. If Scherzer shows up with an attitude, this is lights out.
I think it's been a long time. I saw the stat, but I can't remember the last time a road team won the first 2 games in a in an ALCS or NLCS. But it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. It's not designed to happen that way. So
But look what happened to the Dodgers also. Going down to Arizona. I mean, both teams, both the Braves and the Dodgers went down. I mean,
Yeah.
correct. But and this is my last excuse, and I'm not really making an excuse for why we lost. I'm just saying, why would we play those teams? That's the other part.
Well,
We're playing the Phillies. Man, there's so much familiarity there.
But if Los Angeles had beaten Arizona, would we still play the Phillies?
No, so the Dodgers had a bye, just like the Braves.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers and the Braves were waiting for the other 2 series to happen. As it turns out, the Braves were going to play the winner of the Phillies-Marlins no matter
No
what.
matter who it was.
And the Dodgers were going to play the winner of the Diamondbacks and the Brewers no matter what. It just doesn't make sense for a 1 seed to play a 6, blah, blah, blah. Or they should have played a 6, I'm sorry. But then the familiarity, I mean, you're not sneaking up on the Phillies, and if you're the Dodgers, you're sure as heck not sneaking up on Arizona. These are the people who you play more than anybody else each year. I just...
Yeah, so your next question, does not winning it all and advancing further tarnish any of the records the Braves set this year? It's a team game. I mean, it's not an individual game. Acuna's probably going to win the MVP, but do you think he'd rather have that or a World Series ring?
Well, he'd rather have the World Series ring because they won one without him. And if ever there's a reason the best player on the world wants to show it, I want to show that I can be on the field when we win that, not just cheering other people on.
I say no. As much as I'm not a Braves fan, what they do in the regular season, you got to really acknowledge that. The regular season is one thing, the postseason is a thing. And I think what they did in the regular season was really amazing, and they should that should not diminish who they are or what they did.
No, but you get on Facebook and read all the fans talking about cry about this. It's pretty amazing how they love my Braves, and then as soon as the season's over, they turn on you like.
Well, and I'm on a couple text lines, so if any of you are watching and I start quoting you, forgive me. But it's we clearly do, you got to be able to move a runner over. You got to do this. Nobody was worrying about moving a runner over in game 1, game 27, game 78. Nobody cares about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to flip a switch. People always talk about flipping a switch and can you turn it on when you need to? That switch I don't believe exists in any sport, but you sure as heck aren't going to flip a switch to do things that you're not,
That you haven't been doing
we're
all
going to
year.
bunt the ball.
Did they have any sacrifice months this year? I know they had one last year.
And they had one again in the final week.
This year?
So they've had 2 in the past 2 years, and both of them were in the final week of the regular season. Almost like Snit said, hey, do this so that we're not the only team ever to not do it. Thanks, Snit. Good job.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I have a lot of Braves friends because I'm in a fantasy football league. I run it. And the consensus is that they got outplayed. I'm not hearing I'm not hearing any excuses from them. They're saying honestly, we got outplayed. We saw better pitching in the postseason. We couldn't
They
hit.
scored 2 runs a game.
Yeah,
How
I
you
mean,
going to win a series?
that's
You win
bottom
one
line.
run a
Owns
game.
us. Wheeler owns us.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So I will say this before we who you got now? Who you rooting for now?
I got to root for the Phillies. I mean, I love that energy. I love Bryce Harper. I love everything about it. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, I like the Phillies. Like I said, I like their freewheeling kind of attitude that they're coming with. They just look like they're having fun. And, Arizona Diamondbacks, a very young team.
Weren't supposed to be here.
No, be very interested to see what happens. Is it tonight? They play tomorrow night.
That game is tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, Texas and Houston tonight, right? So we'll see what happens out in the desert. But, Texas is a good ball club. They went into Houston, won 2 games.
I'm going Rangers or Diamondbacks. I don't want the Phillies or the Astros. But
Phillies are peaking at the right time.
absolutely.
They are, like you said,
Absolutely.
they're having a lot of fun hitting that ball, rounding those bases. The fans are going nuts.
Yeah, they gave Schwarber a hard time last night just from going from first to third, and they.
Well, I was at game 2 and we won game 2, and the organist comes up with different songs to play. You know what he was playing? He was playing War Pigs by Black Sabbath. And all of a sudden you see Schwarber walking out. I was like, he does look like a big fat pig. So hey, it's all good.
But he can hit the rock.
He does one of 2 things. He
I
either walks back to the dugout.
stump ATI question, but it's baseball, so he's probably not going to get it. But
No, I will not.
I'll go ahead and give it to him anyway. Castellano hit 5 home runs in 3 games. Who's the only other player ever to do that? In the
5 home
postseason?
runs in 3 games.
Yeah, in the postseason.
Deion Sanders.
Prime time.
Way off. Yeah, and
The Mick?
His nickname should tell you.
Derek Jeter.
No,
Mr. October.
Yeah.
Mr. October. There you go, Reggie Jackson.
But what Reggie Jackson wasn't able to do was what Castellanos did, which was 2 home runs in back-to-back games. That had never
That's
happened.
never been done, yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I was amazed by that. But, I do want to say this as a parting shot to all of the hated Mets fans. Do you know when you got to worry about the Mets?
Never.
When they fire Showalter. Whenever Showalter gets fired, those teams turn it on. Showalter was the manager of the Yankees in 95. He was the manager of the Rangers in 2010. The guy puts together a heck of a team, and whenever he gets fired, usually those teams go on winning streaks. So be careful.
Showalter it is, and he'll be gone by the end of the week.
Well, he's already gone.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's
well, I told
already-
you he'd be gone by the end of the week.
You were absolutely right. I think he's gone by the end of last week.
There you go. So, who you got? You said either the Rangers or
I'll go
or the Diamondbacks.
I'll say Rangers, like I know what I'm talking about because they're up 2-0. So
Yeah,
it's kind
it's
of hard to
hard.
go Diamondbacks,
It's a
baby.
very easy
Basically,
pick
you
to
have
say.
anyone except Phillies.
It's very
Yeah,
easy to
that's it.
pick the Phillies and the
And I
Rangers.
don't like the
since they're both
Astros
2
either
up,
with
2
all
up.
the
Yeah.
cheating and all that other stuff. They've
Yeah.
been there 1,000 times.
All right, real quick, we'll touch on some new Olympic sports, possibly. Flag football, baseball, softball, cricket, lacrosse, and squash would be included at the 2028 games. I'm all for flag football and baseball. The rest of them, you can keep. Maybe lacrosse.
I believe baseball and softball were in Tokyo as well.
They were around between, I did a little homework, from 1980 was their first one, which is kind of interesting because 1980 was
It
Moscow.
was Moscow.
So how that would
Yeah.
but from 1980 through 2012. And then the reason why they say they got rid of it, because I was like, why would they have gotten rid of what is considered probably the second
National pastime.
Well, no, I'm thinking the third biggest sport in the world.
International.
Soccer, basketball, and probably baseball shortly thereafter. Because Major League Baseball won't send their best players. Your thing is in the middle of our season.
Right.
I don't know what you want, but supposedly that's why the AOC kicked it to the curb. I thought that was
Yeah, I was down here. I came down here in '96. I remember going to the Olympics and seeing baseball, and I thought it was awesome. And then all of a sudden, it was gone, and I'm like, "What just happened?"
right. Why?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a lot of these people from Venezuela, from the Dominican. You have. I mean, it was a good matchup.
I went to a game at Atlanta Fulton
County Stadium,
which
yeah.
is where they did the baseball. They had the Olympic Stadium across the street, but all the baseball games were at Atlanta Fulton County. And I went to South Korea versus Japan. Man, you talk about the Phillies fans making noise. There wasn't many people in that stadium, but man, everybody had those thunder sticks and everybody was screaming. It was a lot of fun.
So talking about the new sports, what do you think the odds are that we send NFL players to play in the flag football
Yeah,
competition?
it's kind of interesting because I don't know how you spread. We're still the only country on the planet who plays this sport.
And it's
You
still
know.
pretty.
Well, there are other countries that play flag football, like
yeah, but that would be
Italy and Mexico, but I mean they're not. None of them are throwing back shoulder fades to Jamar Chase.
But,
No, they are
but
not.
it's August and it's preseason. I don't think NFL players will ever go to that.
Never.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of fun, if you haven't met Alvin Jameson, you need to.
Absolutely. He's got all sorts of good deals for you.
Hey, Alvin Jameson here, the mortgage guy. Are you looking to get pre-approved for a home loan? Or maybe you want to build a house from the ground up? Are you curious, or better yet, is your significant other on your back about making renovations in your current home? Call me. I have options for you. All self-employed individuals. Are you torn between writing off all your income or having to show your income to qualify for a house? I have a third alternative for you. Whether you're a W-2 employee, self-employed individual looking to do a purchase or pull money out of your current house, or better yet, we can't forget the investors out there. If you have that high interest rate, hard money loan and looking to refinance out of it, again, give me a call. I have options. Below are the states that I'm personally licensed in. Call me, 404-587-9033. Again, 404-587-9033. Visit the website, alvinjameson.com.
All right. Thank you, Alvin Jameson, for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports, and also the Owl Show at 7 o'clock tonight. Once again, we welcome Ed Rodriguez back to the show for the first time, and we'll move on to some college football. And the Ducks and the Huskies did not disappoint this weekend. What a fun football game to watch.
Such a fun game. I texted all my friends early, and I'm like, I don't even care who wins this game at this point. They're going for it on fourth down. A lot of things were dumb in the game, you could say, but so much fun to watch.
I was a little surprised how many times Lanning went for it on fourth down. I mean, every time.
But once you get denied, aren't you forced into it at some point? I should have kicked a field goal. I should have kicked another field goal. I got to score a touchdown now.
Yeah. Great game, though. I mean, Pennick. I think Pennick's kind of put took the lead in the Heisman with that game. Even though he didn't play great, he played really well. Fun football game to watch. I mean, it was something to do at 3:30 on a Saturday afternoon, that's for sure. Yeah.
And I can't remember the last time there was a Pac-10 game out at 3:30. Usually they say it's like nobody wants to watch
11
this.
o'clock
Throw it
at
on
night.
10.
Yeah.
I think Michael Penix Jr. knocked Caleb Williams out of the Heisman. I think it's his to lose now.
Oh, yeah. Caleb lost it, 4 turnovers at Notre Dame?
Yes. But my national championship picks are looking better.
What is
Was-
that again?
Purdue and who else?
No, I picked Texas and Washington.
Texas and Washington's an opportunity, but
And just to let you know,
Texas got to beat Oklahoma at some point in time to
They,
get there.
if they beat them in the Big 12 championship game,
if you're gonna go that obscure, go to Vegas and put some money on it. 'Cause
I might.
that one would have been worth a lot of money about 2 months ago.
Yeah, Washington's a good football team, but you know, Robert made a point on our agenda about did they only play that well when they play against each other? Because we look at the first game of last year when Oregon played Georgia, and Georgia just smoked Oregon, just smoked them. But maybe they're stepping up. I don't know. It's the thrill of the last year of the Pac-12 or whatever. But Washington's a good football team.
Washington is. I mean, the Big Ten is inheriting. They are more than doubling their actual good programs. So with Notre Dame smacking them out, what's it going to take for USC to get back in the picture? Is there a way?
I don't think so. I don't think there's a path.
I think if they go on a run and they end up beating Washington and Oregon and Utah and Oregon State,
Which I think they play Utah this weekend.
then they might, and they beat them like a drum. They might get back in the race, but it's gonna take several blowout wins. To get
Yeah,
back
it
in
would
the
take a
race.
lot, and I just don't think Adam's right. But those are big ifs. Right. Yeah. I love the concept. We talked about Notre Dame. Notre Dame's toast. Only good when they play in the UNC and FSU. You said they both run the. We didn't want to skip. Or Michigan, Ohio State on an undefeated collision course, or is Penn State, any other big team, going to get in the way?
I think Penn State's
One's
going to get in
RAF
the
and
way.
RAF.
Riff-raff.
Riff-raff.
Who is that? Is he a referee?
Well, there's 3 good teams in the Big Ten, and then there's riff-raff.
Okay.
Well, no. Iowa only has one loss.
Iowa does only have one
What
loss.
did
but
what did I tell you about that game this week?
You told me 10 points was too much,
Well, I told you it was going to be a terrible football game.
and it was.
It was a terrible football game. It ended 15-6 with 1 touchdown.
Which is why they're a part of the riff-raff, because
Yes.
they're still a
Yes.
terrible football game.
So the big game this week is Ohio State and Penn State, right?
Correct. And Penn State does play Michigan later in the year. So does anybody think Penn State is good enough to win one of those 2 games?
Yes.
No.
Do you think they will?
I think they'll beat Ohio State.
You think they'll beat Ohio
Yes.
State and then they'll lose to Michigan?
Yes.
I think you're wrong.
Where's the Michigan Penn State game?
I think that's in the big house.
Because this week is in Columbus, right? Penn
Correct.
State won't beat either one of them on the road, I don't think. They might have a shot at Happy Valley, but
I'll say Ohio State has the 3rd best defense. They've only allowed, on an average, less than 10 points a game. When they played Notre Dame, I was kind of concerned, and I have buddies that are big Ohio State fans. I was kind of concerned because I thought maybe Notre Dame, they lost the game. But they didn't score enough points. But the past 2 games, they look like a Michigan, like they're beating up on people. And I think they're clicking, and I think they're going to roll over Penn.
But I think Penn State has a better offense than Notre Dame. And I think that's where Ohio State struggles is their defense is really good, but their offense isn't very good.
yeah,
and the
McCord's
Michigan-
getting better, though.
Especially they'll have their top 3 running backs out this week.
Oh, Ohio State will?
Yes.
Yeah. McCord's getting better. He's still not
is
great, but he's
better.
improving.
He is better, and if he has Ibuka back this week, he'll be okay. But if they're missing
Ibuka back.
if they're missing their top 3 running backs and Egme Ibuka, they're gonna be in some trouble.
You like to say these weird names on
does.
the air,
I
don't you?
love to. Puka
Hey,
Nakua,
who's the quarterback of Oregon State?
DJ Uiagalelei.
See, I just wanted to set you up there.
And just for the record, DJ's parents do not pronounce their last name as well as ATI does. Penn State plays Michigan in 3 weeks at home, so Michigan has to travel to Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. But yeah, I personally don't see them pulling either one of these.
If they don't beat Ohio State, it won't matter.
Yeah.
Well, part of my thing with, or the riffraff, I think riffraff could still beat Michigan or Ohio State because, Ohio State loves to sleepwalk through games and,
But Michigan, they're a lot better than they have been in years past because they squeak by a lot of games. But this year, they're blowing people out.
Well, but, I think Ed touched on
Michigan should be number 1.
Michigan should be number 1. I know
agree.
ATI's been feeling that way.
I mean, I want it to be Washington, but
But at the end of the day, you know, if you lived in a bubble and you only judged on this year, there's no preseason poll, there's anything else. Yeah, Michigan could be. Unfortunately for Michigan, they got it handed to them the last 2 years in a row. And if you don't think every viewer in the world knows that, they know.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you know, I
So-
can make them second.
So let's briefly touch on the ACC, which isn't much. It's UNC and FSU, and that's pretty much it. They're probably on a collision course to play for the championship. If one of them's undefeated, they got to go to the playoffs. They got to go to the 14 playoff, right?
Unless you have an undefeated Big 12, undefeated Pac-12, undefeated
Correct.
ACC.
I don't think there will
or
be a
SEC
one defeated team in the playoffs this year, unless it's in the SEC.
But if a Big Ten team, and then you join Oklahoma and Washington, the SEC is getting invited, no matter
Yeah.
what anybody wants. So under that circumstance, there's a decent chance. Now, most likely one of these guys are going to lose, and you know, a conference isn't going to have undefeated teams. But
Well, UNC and FSU play each other, right? So one of
No,
them's going to lose.
no,
Oh,
do
they
not.
don't?
They do not play each
Because
In the
other.
championship
that
game,
was
they
the
did,
thing
right.
that's the thing that we talked about last week is Louisville, UNC, and FSU going into last week were all undefeated, and they didn't play each other.
Yeah.
and just for the record, I'll read this out real quick. In the case of a two-team tie for the second best winning, it goes to second best winning percentage. The first team would go to head-to-head, and then the winner of that game
There's no
would hold
head-to-head.
So then it goes to winning percentage versus common opponents.
Well, they would both have. All three of them would have a 100% winning percentage versus common opponents.
Then it would go to the fourth step is to factor in the combined winning percentage of a team's conference opponent, with the teams who face the better opponents gaining the advantage.
Well, that's just
Well, I mean, they had to come up with something.
yes.
Yeah, that's
And
way down the road.
Oh, well, it is, but you know, it'd be
Well-
interesting to see.
Well,
what
I've
they
got a
have to go to
question.
on that.
I've got a question that's not on the agenda. What happens to Georgia now that Brock Bowers is gone for 6 weeks?
They
They're
lose.
going to hand the ball off a lot and beat everybody up. I mean, the same thing that they've been doing.
Well, they got Florida, Ole Miss, and somebody else.
Is that gonna work against Ole Miss?
I don't think
Because
so.
Ole Miss's offense, as we saw in the LSU game, Ole Miss's offense is fantastic.
Okay.
They can put up a lot of points in a hurry.
I think
versus
Georgia
who?
will lose a game while Brock
Versus-
Bowers is gone.
And I'm not saying this is Georgia's defense from last year or the year before, but if you're talking about Ole Miss putting up 48 against somebody who stinks, that's not going to happen when they play the Dogs. They're not putting 48 up.
If they do put up a lot of points in a hurry, how is Georgia going to respond to that? Because they're missing their number one receiver and their number one tight end.
Their
and
number one player
Number one
on the
player.
team, yeah.
Let me
Brock
ask you this.
Bowers and Lad McConkey.
Was it 34-20 or 34-10 against Vanderbilt? 34-10, right?
The first time Vanderbilt has scored against Georgia since 2017.
Yeah, that was pretty
Their
wild.
locker room was in a tent. Cut them some slack.
Let me ask you this. If Georgia loses a game, which I think they will, how far do you think they're going to drop, considering how
Depends.
close the games have been?
Depends on what game they lose. If they lose the SEC championship game to Alabama,
If they're
By
undefeated
7
going
points.
if they're undefeated going into that game, they're in already.
yes.
Do you think they're going to be undefeated going into that game?
No.
I hope not, but I mean, probably.
Well,
Not-
who
I mean,
else do they have?
it's Ole Miss.
Oh, they
unless
have Ole Miss, they have Florida, and they have Tennessee.
And
All
Missouri.
in the next 5 weeks.
And Missouri.
Missouri's an improving ball team. They're a good ball club.
They only have their only losses to LSU.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, want to bring that up? Let's move on to our second commercial and talk about Kennesaw Express Lube.
Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Tech. There's some stumbles there. I mean, stuff could happen because Missouri's playing really well. There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to keep and maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
Thank you, Brian Bristow, for being a sponsor of both our shows, The Owl Show and three guys who love sports. So let's move on to some pro football. What a crazy weekend.
Who didn't
in
see
pro
the
football.
Jets and the Browns coming through to
Down
Gosh.
go the Eagles.
Down goes everybody. There are no undefeated teams left in the NFL.
done?
Done.
Any given Sunday.
Well, and I love to bring that up all the time. They made a great movie called Any Given Sunday.
That's awesome.
How about Saturdays for college, Friday nights? Anything can happen, period. And clearly that was the case because I watched a little bit of that Niner game, when it was it 10-0 or 14-0 to start the game? It was like, I'm done with that game. Wrong.
And then CMC got hurt, and Debo got hurt.
And he's got the worst injury in the world.
Who, Debo?
No.
C-Mac. He's going to be playing Monday night.
Oblique. As soon as you hear that word oblique, it's like, what exactly is an oblique? It means his tummy hurts, and if he stretches or moves in a weird way, it's going to get worse. And
I think high ankle is worse. High ankle sprain. When you got high ankle sprain, that's 4 to 6 weeks.
He's
But
playing
that's
Monday
fine
night.
because they know not to play you for 4 to 6 weeks. He's going to go, just wrap it up and tape it. No, doesn't work that way.
He's
I
going to
watched
play
Chipper-
Monday night when I kick ATI's hiney.
Yeah, you probably will. I suck.
But, those were the obviously two big upsets of the week. Boy, there were so many good games, though.
There really were.
It really was. And how cool was it to see Aaron Rodgers out there throwing the ball on the field? 5 weeks after having a torn Achilles? And he looked like he was putting a little weight on it when he was throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you bring, and this is something that I've been talking to my buddies about, do you bring him back? He wants to come back toward the end, but then he risks further injury. So what do you do?
If you're in playoff contention, you bring him back.
He's not
coming back then.
No, this injury will not allow him to come back in 3 months. He will not be ready at the end of the year. The question is, what do you do? Do you keep all of your eggs in that one basket and pray that when it starts the next year, he's healthy and good to go and not a 40-year-old guy who just had a horrific career-ending injury? Or do you start possibly looking for that next guy?
It depends who that next guy is.
I thought White was a great backup. I could not believe you guys let him go away. Mike White. He likes to throw the ball downfield. I would feel much better about your chances this year if Mike White was still throwing them deep. But we'll see how that happens.
I have the Jets right here because I went through their schedule and who they're going to beat, who they're going to lose to, and I have them as an 8-9 team.
8-9.
That's what I have them as. Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Well, I picked him to win the division at the beginning of the year, but that was pre-Rodgers injury.
I had him missing the playoffs before the injury.
Yeah.
Just
I think I had him missing the playoffs, too.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens with the Jets.
Hey, but we beat the Eagles.
Boy, they can play some.
That's all that matters.
They can
it.
play some defense.
Says
up
long as
there.
you
the
beat the
Cowboy
Eagles.
fan, he only cares about one.
As long as you beat the Eagles.
They can play some defense up there in New York.
Yes,
There's no
they
doubt
can.
about that. Yeah. Yeah. So, favorite game of the weekend, Robert, which one was yours?
There was a few good games.
Really good
was,
football games.
I'd say I have to say the Browns. I mean, nobody ever expects Cleveland. There's diehard Jets fans that wear their clothes out any time of year. That just doesn't happen for the boys in orange. I'd have to say the Browns.
He missed a 41-yard field goal to win the game. What's the kicker's name in San Francisco?
He's on my
a
team.
rookie.
He's a rookie, and they drafted him. That's a big miss by him. But yeah, the other thing about those Browns are they don't even have Deshaun.
No, they have PJ. They still have PJ Walker.
Yep, P.J. Walker started the quarterback. I got to say my favorite game was the Monday night game. The
Buffalo,
Giants,
yep.
The Giants in Buffalo. What a crazy football game.
It was.
I've never seen
I'm a
Daboll-
Bills fan, though. I can't say that.
I mean, it wasn't a good game.
No, it wasn't, but it was very entertaining how they blew it at the end of the first half when the Giants blew it, and they had 12 seconds left, and they run the ball, and they can't get a second play off.
that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I don't know. How does that happen? How do you allow that to happen?
I think the quarterback checked it, didn't he? It was a Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I think he checked it because Daboll was chewing his ass out after the play when they were going to halftime. And then pretty much same thing at the end of the game. First pass interference went against Darren Waller, and then The last play probably could have been called too.
Yeah.
Same thing. But to me, it looked like they were both kind of pushing, and also I think it was a good no call. But man, that was just a crazy football game, and I was happy the Bills won because I like the Bills. But
I was happy
Bill.
to see Saquon because I got him on my fantasy football team.
yeah,
I got to see him back.
yeah.
Not on that carry though.
Not on that carry. I mean, he's got to do better. Do better, Saquon.
I had him
People
last
are
year.
counting
He
on
didn't
you.
do better. This year he's okay. So that's pretty good games. NFL is entertaining, and we did see that Roger Goodell signed a 3-year extension today through 2027. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Which, once again, everybody who hates Goodell's only job is to make the owners more money. And
he's doing a good job.
I think you could probably put Mr. Magoo in that spot, and he would still make the owners more money. But he guy's got the job.
he does have the job. I'm not pro or anti. I think he does a good job. I like the fact that everybody boos him when he gets introduced at the NFL draft. But that's,
Oh, absolutely.
that's part of the draft. That's
beautiful.
just kind of fun now. Yeah. Have you ever been to one of those, Ed? To like an NFL draft night?
I have not. But I love the whole booing thing in New York. You only see that in New York. I love it.
Yeah. New York's awesome city for sports. No doubt about it.
They just boo for the sake of booing. It's like, hey, we haven't booed in a pick or two, so let's just boo.
I haven't seen my mom in a week, and I boo. Are you booing your mom? Yes. And I'm not booing because I haven't seen her. I saw a new thing where they had the power rankings, and they got the Dolphins as number 1. What do you think of that?
That's a little surprising, but they're a good football team. They're going to set records this year for points scored and yards gained and all that.
As long as he stays upright.
As long as Tua stays upright. Yeah, yeah. I like the Dolphins. I mean,
Yeah.
are they the AFC favorite now?
I don't know. At the same time, you haven't seen the Chiefs. The Chiefs are good because Mahomes is that good and Kelsey's there, but they don't have anything else going for them.
You mean the Kansas City Taylor Swifts?
The Swifties.
Yeah.
And,
Swifties.
I just don't know. I mean, as good as they look, as good as Mahomes looks, you go over to Buffalo. Gabe Davis is not a number 2 wide receiver on a great team. He's a 3rd or 4th wide receiver on a great team. You look at what the Dolphins can do. If I know you love saying Achane.
Devon Achane.
A-Chain. If A-Chain comes back and he's healthy, and you've got the 2 wide receivers that are lining up for them, that's a tough outcome.
H-Chain's
December.
a stud. That boy's a stud.
Can anyone cover Tyreek?
No.
Nobody can.
No one can, right?
And that's the whole thing.
Adam probably could.
I mean,
So
I could.
If you have to put 2 on him, and are you going to leave Waddle with single coverage? Because if you don't, even if you left that, A-Chain now has all sorts of running room, and if you don't double Waddle, I think Waddle's going to beat you. It's going to be a very difficult team.
They got a lot of tools in Miami.
They do.
No
They
doubt
really
about
do.
it. Yeah.
They're a fun team to watch, I think.
They are too. Yeah. NFC. God, who's the favorite now? Don't say the Cowboys because.
No, we suck.
Yeah. Even after their win against San Diego
Yeah, we're
Monday
bad.
night. Yeah.
Probably still the Niners.
Yeah, that's true. Niners are still good. They're a good football team. Everybody's going to lose one. I didn't think anybody was going to go undefeated. But
How about those Lions?
Lions may be the best team in the NFC.
Lions are 5-1 with the other 2 teams we think are so good. I don't know. So, best 3-3 team.
Well, we going to talk about our Falcons too?
Oh, we can.
Desmond Ritter is bad.
He's bad.
Do we have to talk about the Falcons?
He's bad. He's horrible. He's getting worse.
Give me Heineke.
Give me anything. Give me a PBR if you're not going to change a quarterback. At least I can drink.
Yeah. I'm about to jump on that wagon. But, they seem so close. They had so many chances to win that ball game on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But, once again, our running back is a stud. You should be able to hand it to him 20 times a game, not to mention Algier and everything that man can do. But people should be wide open. And when you watch the replays, they are. We just don't have a quarterback who can throw it to him.
Yeah. After the first drive on Sunday, I said, wow, this looks like an offense. And then That was it. And that was it. Yeah.
And then Desmond Ritter decided to throw a fade up off his back foot into the end zone.
Crazy.
No,
crazy.
he's just
But
bad.
That being said, they're 3-3, half game out of first, and they play at Tampa this weekend, right?
That is correct.
And I saw Tampa as a 2.5-point favorite over the Falcons.
Probably
Correct.
true.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which, interestingly enough, means Vegas thinks the Falcons are a half a point better of a team. That being
The
said,
3-point home
Baker,
advantage.
Baker looks good. Baker looks really comfortable.
Yeah, but Detroit went in there and cleaned their clocks, and that's something Detroit's done that a lot of people haven't done. They've gone on the road and won. They won at Kansas City opening night. They won at Tampa Bay. Did they win at Green Bay this year, or was that last game last year?
That was last year. I don't think they played at Green Bay this year.
They're 3-0 on the road this year, so tells you everything.
You got to win on the road. You got to cover your games at home, and you got to win on the road in the NFL. So they could be. Let's ask Ed this question and see if he knows.
It was at Green Bay that game.
Okay.
Yeah, last year though, right?
No, this
No,
year.
this
So it was. So they have lost 1-3 on the road.
Yeah.
Who are the 4 teams that have not made the Super Bowl in the NFL?
The 4 teams that have not made the Super Bowl in the NFL.
That's the same thing I asked.
I know.
Okay. You remember these, Adam, right? We've had this
The
before.
Lions.
Lions is one.
Yes.
JFK still only missed one playoff win.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Houston.
Houston.
Yes.
Houston, we have a problem.
Let me go with the Vikings.
Oh, no. They've made the
No.
Super Bowl. The Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Well,
Cleveland. I got
no.
3 out of 4.
Well, no. Technically, they have made the
Stop.
Super Bowl. Technically, the NFL said that the franchise was suspended.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Good try, ATI.
No, the NFL actually said their history was suspended, and they kept everything when they back before 95 or 92 or whatever.
Correct.
I
But that team never went to the Super Bowl when they were in Cleveland. They've only been to the Super Bowl since they've been to Baltimore.
When they were in Baltimore.
Correct.
I thought they had one.
No.
So then,
No,
did they
had
win
a guy
the?
named Brian Sipe.
So then,
He
did they
wasn't
win
very
the
good.
AFL
Brian Sipe.
championship?
They won so
They
many
won-
AFL championships. NFL, no, I'm sorry. They were an NFL,
NFL team before
They
the
won-
merger.
They won like 7 championships right before the Packers started winning everything. The Browns dominated.
But those were not.
Those
those
weren't
were
Super
not
Bowls.
Before
Super
the
Bowls.
merger. Yeah. The NFL championship. And
You guys are talking about the 3-3 team, best 3-3 team.
Yeah.
The Rams. Puka Nakua.
Puka
There you
Nacua.
go. I knew
Puka
you were gonna say what I wanted to
Nacua.
say before you did.
Yeah.
I have him on my fantasy football team.
I do too.
What's
I
your,
love
what's
it.
the
I wish
record
you
of your
did.
fantasy football team?
I am 4-2.
So am I.
I'm 4-2. And I'll tell you, the Rams, I think they're the best 3-3 team. I mean, you got Cooper Kupp coming back from injury.
He's looking good.
He's looking good. And
Their
you
running
got-
back got hurt this week, though. He's going to be out, right?
Yeah. So you got Matthew Stafford. Believe it or not, he's the number 3 quarterback in passing yards. You got Tyler Higbee. You got Aaron Donald. You still got a great defense, and you got Sean McVay. I mean, the team's it's a veteran team. I think.
Read off the 3-3s for me, Robert.
3 and 3s. Here we go. The LA Rams, New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons, Washington Commanders, Vegas, Houston, Indianapolis, and the Bengals and the Jets.
Wow. I got to go with the Bengals. I mean,
Yeah.
They're coming back.
Just because they won their last 2, I would give them a little bit of a nod, but I still don't get any warm and fuzzies like everybody had a month before the season started about the Bengals. They just don't look like the Bengals.
Their receivers are not
They don't.
putting up the numbers.
Well, and I know his Joe Cool's calf is hurting and he can't do what he can't do, but yeah, they just don't look right. Period.
Speaking of 3-3 teams and bad quarterbacks, Jimmy G's bones are still made of glass.
Yes, that did not change.
That
when he moved to the desert, it didn't-
he ran into his offensive lineman
Yeah.
and he went to the hospital.
Well, my favorite 3-3 team that's the most surprising to me is the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud's playing some ball.
He clearly is. When you look at that draft, and now all of a sudden you got Richardson, who's out for the rest of the year, and you got, Carolina traded everything except for the kitchen sink to get a quarterback, and now they don't have anything for that quarterback to throw to because they don't even have a kitchen sink.
They have Adam Thielen.
Stroud looks good. Thielen is horrible in putting up sick numbers. I mean, that guy hasn't put up a game like that in 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
But he looks good now. Yeah, I got Thielen last week in fantasy. Thanks.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, we were 6 weeks into the season, so we got 11 games left in the NFL. Long way to go in the NFL, but
And a lot of buys this week. I hate this. This is like the worst week.
I don't think I have anybody on a bye this week. I don't know my fantasy team. So out of the 4 teams that are in the playoffs in our league, 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 12 seed.
I just like to call
I'm
myself
not 12.
Okay, I was somewhere between 3 and 12.
I'm like
Nine
8.
to the
And-
eighth or ninth.
and
Wonder
and,
Boy is 12 seed.
and I just
What?
and I just like to point out that I don't consider myself a 3 seed. I consider myself defending champion. Thank you. But no,
wow.
this year or this week you have Carolina, Cincinnati, Dallas, Houston, the Jets, and Tennessee all off.
That's a lot of
That's
players.
a lot of teams.
No. Do you play C-Mac this week? Is he going to play Monday night? That's a tough call to make on a Sunday.
I wouldn't because then you're going to have a short week to come back to him the next week. So if you're the Niners and you've owned everything except for a bad second half in Cleveland, I don't think you make that mistake. But
Well,
we'll
if
see.
Aaron Jones is back, I might sit C-Mac, but he's questionable still too. So
Are you guys in the same fantasy football league?
yeah.
we have one for the
our-
show.
for our
Yeah,
show.
one for the show.
And
will
then
t-
I have another one too.
Okay, I will tell you, I've been running one since 2012. The commissioner, I mean, these guys know what they're doing, and even this year, we have Fantasy Football Hall of Fame. That's how long we've been together, and I think my claim to fame is that I've never won the whole thing.
2012. I've been in one since 1985.
1985.
No, you were in one in 1985. You haven't been in one since
Oh yeah,
1985.
Jerry Rice was my very first pick. I'll never forget that.
I've been playing with the same group of 13 guys since this is our 26th season.
That's awesome. Do you go anywhere to do the draft, like a guys'
We
weekend?
do it live here.
No, we do it at a buddy's house, and it's always fun, but it's getting better. This is the first year that we're actually making the loser do something. And right now, this is the worst year I've had in so long. It's like, I guess I'm going to have a big pink license plate on the front of my truck before long.
Yeah, we go to a lake house and just do a guys'
That's
weekend,
awesome.
and it's just awesome. It's just
It is awesome.
Well, we need to get to our last commercial before we get to our picks.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, bachelor or bachelorette party, or something to do when you're having guests in from out of town, American Access, with their 3 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, and now in downtown at the Works, they've got something different. Look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
Thank you, Dan Fisher, also for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports and the Owl Show. So it is time to make our picks. Larry, I don't have a pen, so you're going to have to mark these down, okay? All right. Robert, you picked some good ball games here, buddy.
Well, I just tried. I went one with different conferences for all 4 games, but matchups that seem like they might actually have something going on later in life.
Very cool.
Penn State at Ohio State. Buckeyes -4.5. What you got on that, Ed? What are you thinking?
Ohio State, like I said, third best defense. I think they're playing well the past 2 games. I say maybe Penn State keeps it close, but I think the defense comes up big. So I'll take Ohio State. That's for my buddy Jacques.
Are you laying the
That's for you,
4.5?
Jacques.
I'll lay the 4.5.
Okay. All right.
I can't honestly remember the last time Penn State won a game that I thought, wow, what this is going to be a great game. So I have to go Ohio State. So, yeah, I'll take the Buckeyes.
And I will take Penn State to get the axe. I picked the loser, not the winner. So Penn State I missed that.
Getting abused. I know. I had a hell of a time with it last week. What say you? Big Ten man.
I mean, I think I've already revealed my pick, but I'm going with the Nittany Lions.
Is it a whiteout?
Probably.
No, it's in Columbus. This game's
Oh,
in
that's
Columbus.
right. It won't be a whiteout then.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's not good for them. Because when I looked up the Michigan game, it said it was a noon game. Now they could change that.
Yeah.
but-
Why did they put that? I can't believe this game is a noon game.
What, Penn State, Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean this.
Well, it's the big-
during
big-
prime time or something.
That's NBC. That's
Yeah.
an
No,
NBC doing.
big noon kickoff on Fox.
Fox. Yeah.
That's a Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see it in prime time. I think night football is so much more fun than.
I like all these Pac-10 teams that are starting to play well. That 3:30 game was really a 12:30 game, and they had a couple games that were kicking off at 10 o'clock last week. But, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right.
Tennessee at Bama-Lama. Bama-Lama minus 8.5.
Boy, Bama-Lama didn't look that good this weekend.
But are we just going to keep saying that Bama-Lama doesn't look that good, and we keep looking up and still only got one loss?
Yeah.
Still
What,
only got one
what
loss.
did they move up to in the polls? They were 11. Are they up to 8 or 9 or something like
I'm
that?
sure they are.
Probably. I was
got the
more
rankings
worried
here.
about the basketball poll.
Actually 11th.
They're at
They're
11.
still at 11.
17 versus 11.
They had
Well, who jumped them?
North Carolina jumped them.
Okay. All right. This is a very hard game for me to pick. I want Alabama to be good because I want anybody to be good that has a chance to beat Georgia.
We call those motives.
Yes, they do. I did not have my best week in the tub this week. I went 4-5-1. But I'm gonna give the axe to Tennessee. I think if Alabama's going to get their act together, it's got to be now and against somebody that's good. So Rocky Top gets
he really
the
did
axe.
miss that.
Rocky Top gets the axe.
What are you thinking?
Well, Tennessee has a good. They can run the ball well, but I think Alabama has also a good run defense. It has a good secondary. The way I see it is Tennessee keeps it close the first half. Second half, Bama rolls. I'm giving the points.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. I think this might stay a game. The only thing that would keep this a game and make me go Tennessee is if we went into a time tunnel and went backwards, because a lot of times Nick Saban versus LSU or Tennessee just wants to barely run the ball because he knows he can win these games and he doesn't want to do anything dumb. But I think Bama ends up rolling. I think they'll win by at least 2 scores.
All right.
Yeah, Joe Milton hasn't looked great this year, so unless he can throw the ball 90 yards against the Alabama defense,
Which they're still waiting for.
I'm going Alabama.
Alabama is my Knish of the week.
All right. Cool. All
There
right.
you go.
Duke plus 13.5 at FSU. Go for it, Ed.
Riley Leonard, is he day to day, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's playing. So I would go with Florida State. I think Florida State just rolls too.
I think FSU wins this game. I'm thinking Duke is going to sneak in there and cover with that 13.5.
I'm with Robert. FSU gets the axe. I think the Duke is going to stay within 13.5. I think Riley will play. I know he's day to day, but with him, they got a good shot.
Right. With him, they have.
are you
I'm counting him not playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you still thinking FSU will win?
Yeah, I think they will, but I think Duke will come within 13.5.
I agree. Mike Elko is a good coach. They kept it close against Notre Dame. Now that was with Riley Leonard. He might be back this week, but I'm going to go Duke.
All right, USC and Utah. Utah getting 7 at Southern Cal.
I'm taking Utah because I took them to start the year as my Pac-10. I know I can't say Pac-12. My Pac representative, and this is a big game. Both of them have a 1 loss, and so whoever loses this one is definitely out. So this might be a fun game worth watching. But I'll take Utah plus the points.
Ed?
Yeah, this I was looking at USC, but then I was looking at some of these stats, and you know that USC hasn't covered the last 3-4 games, and they're allowing 41 points a game. I mean, that's ridiculous.
They are a sieve.
And so then, yeah, I'm taking Utah and the points.
And I'm giving the axe to Southern Cal as well. I mean, Caleb Williams has to bounce back. And I don't know if he's going to. And like Ed said, 41 points a game is a lot to give up. And I just think Utah might beat them outright. But I think they'll definitely come within 7. So the Axe, the All-American Axe from Dan Fisher, goes to the Southern Cal Trojans.
And the Heisman Trophy guy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I like the over. The over is 55.
I like the over in every pack game.
Yeah.
unless the Oregon coach keeps going for it. It's like, no, put some points on the board.
Yeah.
Now, this is a tough game to pick because Utah doesn't have Cam Rising. And
They haven't had him all year.
No, they haven't. But the USC defense hasn't looked good. So I guess I'll go Utah.
Across the board, no lone wolf. Everybody's going with the
That's never a good sign.
No,
if you're in Vegas, put a little money on USC.
All right, let's move on to the pros. The Falcons at Tampa Bay.
I hate the Falcons. I hate all the clothes that I have. I have 19 jackets, 42 shirts, couple sweatshirts, couple jerseys. I don't want to wear any of them. Please get. All I want for Christmas is the backup quarterback. That being said, I'm going to take the Bucks minus 2.5 because the Falcons win every time I pick against them.
I think Baker Mayfield is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get every week. So I think this week he goes for like 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I take Tampa and give the points.
You know, I agree about Baker Mayfield, but I want to take the Falcons. I want the Falcons to win, but I'm in Robert's boat. They got to show me something, and they're not showing me anything. Defense is not playing that bad. Defense is playing a pretty good season, but the offense, I mean, like I said on the first drive this week, they went down the field, they scored. I said, this is the offense they need to run, and then that was it. So give me the Falcons.
Oh, I say bet with your wallet, not your heart.
I said, remember, I'm picking the loser.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Yes.
Tampa Bay laying the
Taking-
points.
And
Yeah.
I'll take Tampa Bay.
All right.
So across the board, Tampa.
Yeah.
Once again,
Sorry, guys.
bet the Falcons.
All right, Detroit plus 3.
Against Baltimore?
Yeah, I love that game.
I do too. I mean, Lamar Jackson's played fantastic. They got Gus Edwards. Odell looked good last week. I'm going to take Baltimore.
Is Odell able to already cash in on AARP stuff?
He might be able to.
Okay.
Might be able to.
Okay. Just wondering. What are you thinking, Ed?
I got to agree. I like Lamar Jackson. I like the way Baltimore's playing. I'm taking Baltimore. I like them.
We just talked about Detroit being 3-0 on the road. I said Detroit's 4-0 on the road.
There you go.
My axe goes to Baltimore.
And I'm 100% with you. I'm as much as the Ravens, you know, they start to look that way. Detroit is that way right now. They are putting their will on against whoever they're playing. Whatever you're trying to do, they're taking that away. And they look like an old school football team. They look like somebody from 1974. You know, what do you do? Well, we don't do a lot of stuff, but we do it really tough. But yeah, I'll take the Lions.
All right.
All right.
Game of the week.
This is my game of the week.
It is the game of the
Miami
week.
and Philadelphia. What a ball game. What a ball game at Philadelphia. Go ahead, Ed.
I like Miami. I like what they're doing. They're an exciting team. I think the Eagles are a great team, and I think the Eagles are going to win the division. But for this game, I take Miami. I like them a lot.
You know, talking about home field being worth 3, Vegas says Dolphins are 1.5 point favorite if it's on a neutral field. Nothing would surprise me in this game. If the Eagles win, so be it. But I will definitely take the Dolphins.
And I will take the Eagles as the axe. I think there's too much going on in Miami. I mean, I know they don't have A-Chain, but they still got Hostert. Is that their running back?
Yes, Raheem Mostert
Mostert, yes. Thank
from
you.
Purdue.
Yeah. Oh, God, I didn't know that. I changed my pick. No. So I'll give the axe to the Eagles. I think Miami will cover the 1.5. Or will win outright.
Stupid Philadelphia signing stupid Julio Jones. I hate the Eagles. Go Miami.
There you go.
That was a dumb signing, I thought. But, you know,
All right,
whatever.
last game, we got to move on. San Francisco minus 6.5 at Minnesota.
Vikings have to win. They're, 2-4. So, you know, Mr. Jefferson's gone. And if they don't win, it's all done. I'm going to take the Vikings at home plus that almost touchdown.
Go ahead, Ed.
I like San Francisco, but I like the points more. So I'm taking the Vikings too.
I think with C-Mac or without C-Mac, I think the Vikings are toast. I don't think they're going anywhere the rest of the year without Justin Jefferson. And I think San Francisco's not going to lose 2 in a row. I will give the axe to the Minnesota Vikings.
I wonder if the Niners stayed out east since they just played the Browns and now they're playing the Vikings. I wonder if they went all the way home and then.
It's not a long trip. It's not like New York and New England.
They're not on a first class plane, right?
Yeah. Well, we're running a minute late, but Ed, we want to thank you for being on the show today, buddy.
I appreciate you guys having me. Great cause. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate everyone.
Robert,
Love you guys.
good to see you, buddy.
Good seeing you, sir.
All right. Next week, guys, back for 3 guys who love sports, and we'll see what's going on. Until then, know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked.
Shoot.